What if the business model you're trying to build isn't actually the business model that fits you? You look around, you see someone, they're doing great with podcasting. Oh, look at them. They've got a membership. Oh, someone else has a huge email list. Someone else is selling courses. Maybe I should do that. Oh, look at her. She's coaching. That might be the thing. And you assume I need to do that. But a successful business is not created by collecting every strategy that works for somebody else. That is called the shiny object syndrome. You go off and go, oh, they're successful that way. I'll do that. I'll do this. I'll do that. You see, you can't create your system based on what works for everyone else. You need to look at you. What are your strengths? Who is your audience? What season of life? If you have little kids, you don't have as much time and you're working at home, you don't have as much time to get this work done. But if you're an empty nester, you have a lot more time usually. You may not have, we're still pretty busy. But you've got to look at your season of life. And today we're going to talk about business models. I'm Carrie Beck with Family eBiz, where we help families start and scale online businesses so they can find freedom in their life to do what they're called to do. You see, we've got to get away from the comparison trap or the shiny object syndrome. Either one of those is not what will fit you, and it's not going to grow your business. One entrepreneur says you need a podcast, and you're like, okay, I'll go build that podcast. Another says, oh no, you need to be on Instagram every day. I've heard that over and over. That is not me. If I had, 28 hours a day, maybe I'd have time for Instagram. Someone else says you need a membership. Maybe that works for you, maybe it doesn't. Someone else says, oh, courses are where the money is. Everyone's got a thing and they've got their stick and they want to, sell it to you. Some of those are things I believe in. I have a podcast. You're listening to it or you're watching it on YouTube. Um, and I've got some memberships as well, and they do work for me. I have a course in homeschooling that works very well for me. But does that mean it's going to work for everyone out there? No, you've got to figure out what works because all of a sudden your business is the Frankenstein business made from everybody else's advice. The problem isn't that those strategies are bad. The problem is they may not match your strengths. And that's what we need to look. You see, there's no one right business model. Now, there are things I totally believe. For me, email marketing is my number one asset. I personally believe it probably is one of the number one assets for any online business. But some people, they might be making money from advertising and they don't need it. But I would say for most people starting up, that is the biggest and best place is to start a list of people that love you. They like the topic, they need your help. And for those of you that are listening that are working on your product right now and you haven't started building a list, I will just tell you, you need to take a step backwards because when you finish that product, you won't have anyone to sell it to. All right, that's a side topic, side piece of advice. You see, all these different things, blogging can work, podcasting can work, YouTube work, email marketing, courses, memberships, services, coaching, all of it, networking and partnerships, they all work. The question isn't which one is best. You need to reframe your question. Which one allows you to use your strengths to serve your audience best? What are your strengths? That's what you need to know. And I'm probably going to really mess this name up, Minion Fogarty. She started Grammar Girl as a quick tip about writing, and that was it. But eventually, it became huge. And she ended up with a much larger podcast audience and then eventually an educational business. Her strength was not trying to become everyone to everything or everything to everyone in the education market. It was taking something she knew well, grammar, communicating it in a memorable and easily accessible way. So her content was memorable. Podcasting was something easy to access. And her story is especially useful to you. Whether you're a blogger, podcaster, content creator, a YouTuber, how can you offer one tip of content that will help your audience? It can be on your blog, your podcast, your YouTube, your email, wherever. Back then in the day, it was ads. Now, I'm not saying ads don't work. I personally believe they do work. But back in the day, you had to run ads, you had to have book sales, you had to have engagement. What did she find out? She found out what is true today is that evergreen content works. It is utility driven content and it compounds over time. It could be the SEO factor in Google or Pinterest or YouTube or a podcast or a blog or wherever. But evergreen content can compound because it works over and over. I have a blog post. Oh, some of these are the worst written blog posts from 10 years ago. And it still gets great traffic. Lucky Charms, St. Patrick's Day graphing, something like that. And I have some other ones. One of the ones is Christmas Eve family service, and I railed against our church. I mean, I was just so appalled. And I wrote that down in a blog, and to this day, it still gets tons of traffic, even in the summer sometimes. Another one is Bible snack activities or something like that. It was kids' activities that they could learn Bible lessons through food. And so I didn't have anything on that blog post. I mean, like, there was no call to action. You do have a call to action on every blog post, don't you? Every blog post or podcast or YouTube or email needs a job. Well, that one didn't. So I finally, after I kept seeing it up at the top of Google Analytics, I was like, I think you need to get over there and put something on it. So I eventually did. And there is a call to action now. So you see, Grammar Girl remains a recognizable podcast brand. She continued developing the business around her strengths, which was language and education. What is the thing people already come to you for? If they're not coming to you, maybe we need to rethink your whole business model. What is the one thing people continue to come to you for? That's what you need to focus on. That is your strength. And that is how I built my business. Was what are they asking me questions about? And I would take some time this week. Actually, we're going to stop right now. Now, if you're driving, don't do this. Write it down. But if you're not, I would grab a piece of paper or a note on your phone, and I want you to answer these questions. People come to me when they need what? For me in the homeschool market, it is homeschool tips from an experienced empty nester who's already raised their kids because she did it. Proof is in the pudding. And it's also people that want to give their kids a different type of education. People come to you when they need what? And here's your next question. The part of my business I naturally enjoy is. What do you naturally enjoy? Write that down. For me, videos are easier for me. I like getting on calls with people. I like helping moms. I like seeing that aha moment. And it's more with moms and teaching kids. I love to teach kids too, but that's what I enjoy. What do you enjoy? What part of your business? And I actually, when I finally sit down to it, enjoy the marketing aspect of it. You may not. You may want to outsource some of that. People come to me when they need what? The part of my business I naturally enjoy is the thing I could talk about, teach, create, or solve repeatedly is what can you talk about, teach, create, or solve repeatedly? For me, it is homeschool problems, encouragement. How do you know you're doing enough? Or I actually like to talk about marketing. My son's friend now owns 3 auto shops, repair shops. One of them is here in town, 2 are up in Dallas. And I had said something about marketing, and he had helped me with my car. My car still has problems, but he had helped me get a new engine from the dealership. And we got on the call and we talked for probably an hour about marketing ideas for his businesses. I loved it. That's what I love doing is helping people create systems so that they can market and make money with their business. And then lastly, in the next 4 weeks, what is one tip I can share? Write it down. What is one tip you can share? You don't need to build your whole business model. You need to know, what are people coming to you for? What part do you enjoy? What could you teach, create just like this and you love doing? And what is one tip that you could share? And I will challenge you right now. This is the middle of August. Take this and run with it for 4 weeks through the middle of September. Identify the raw material and do something about it. And if you don't think you can get it done before the end of August, plan it for September. This is your problem. This is what you're going to work on in September for 4 weeks. You are going to solve this problem and repeat that one tip over and over. Now, if you need a little help getting yourself organized, I do have my free business marketing roadmap. I'd love for you to get it. The link will be in the show notes or the YouTube description. And I also have a course, and it's a few years old, but I was doing this. I thought we need to share that. It's called Maximize Revenue, and it's really looking at what your strengths and weaknesses are and how you can use your strengths to maximize your revenue. And so there'll be a link in the show notes in the description to that as well. Hey, thanks for spending time with me. I am Carrie Beck with Family eBiz. We'll talk to you next time.